There's a new EV brand in town, IONIQ, or rather a sub-brand of Hyundai. In this video, I want to reveal exciting new details about the new all-electric sub-brand from Hyundai, the IONIQ brand. We will reveal leaked details for the new IONIQ 5 SUV coming soon, dimensions, when you can buy it, the battery size, and also range estimates. Plus, if you stick around to the end, I will reveal another 300 plus mile SUV coming from Kia around 2021. I'm Jonathan Stewart, and welcome to Cleanerwatt. On August 9th, 2020, Hyundai Motor Company announced the launch of its new IONIQ brand dedicated to battery electric vehicles only. With this press release, they also discussed details about their EV future and also 3 new electric vehicles coming from that new sub-brand. Vehicles within this IONIQ sub-brand will still carry the Hyundai logo. Here's a brief overview of what to expect from those 3 electric vehicles, and also we'll dive deeper into the details of the IONIQ 5 smaller SUV that will be coming sometime in 2021. The first model that Hyundai plans to launch under the IONIQ brand will be the IONIQ 5. It's going to be a mid-size compact SUV that will launch early in 2021. This IONIQ 5 will be based on the concept, the EV45, which you see here, and this is the one that Hyundai unveiled at the International Motor Show in 2019 in Frankfurt. The next year, in 2022, Hyundai will introduce the IONIQ 6 sedan, which is based on the company's latest concept, the EV Prophecy, unveiled in March. They also plan to launch the IONIQ 7, a larger SUV, in early 2024. All these new electric vehicles will be built on a shared platform, one that they share also with Kia. Now, before we dive into all the details about the new upcoming IONIQ 5 SUV coming next year, I want to talk a little bit about a prototype versus an actual production vehicle. You'll notice that Hyundai mentioned these new IONIQ vehicles are going to be based off of these different prototypes. They're not necessarily going to be the same. Here's a concept car that Hyundai released at the 2018 Paris Motor Show. And you can see here that they used a lot of design cues from that concept vehicle for the new Hyundai Sonata Sport. So expect these new IONIQ vehicles to be inspired by these concepts and not necessarily look exactly like them. So as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, we have the most details about the new upcoming IONIQ 5, their compact SUV, and that's supposed to be coming next year. So let's talk about the details that we do have. According to this Electrive article, which quotes a well-known electric car dealer in Germany, we know the approximate size of the IONIQ 5. We also know the battery capacity and sizes of the vehicle, the charging power, and also the charging speed. If you take the dimensions from that article and convert them over to inches and compare that to the Kona EV that they currently sell and also the Model Y and the Model 3, you can see that in many cases the IONIQ 5 is nearly the same size as the Model Y, and it is a decent amount bigger than the Kona EV. Although this is going to be a compact SUV, it's in no ways going to be a really small SUV. It'll be similar to the size of the Model Y. And while the exact range of these electric vehicles has not been released yet, we do have some details enough to make some estimates on what we believe they will be. The Tesla Model Y has an EPA-rated range of around 316 miles or 509 kilometers. Based on this EPA figure, it's able to travel around 4.27 miles per kilowatt hour of battery. The 2020 Hyundai Kona EV is a very efficient EV as well, and it can travel around 4.03 miles per kilowatt hour. If their new IONIQ 5 SUV is able to have the same efficiency rating as the Kona EV, then that will peg the range somewhere around 300 miles of range or close to 500 kilometers of range. So those are our estimates for the EPA-rated range, but if we dive a step further and talk about the actual real-world range estimates for these vehicles, I assume it'll be very equal to what the Model Y offers. According to evdatabase.org, the actual real-world range estimates for the Model Y long-range all-wheel drive SUV are somewhere closer to 260 miles instead of 316 miles. The Kona EV is rated at around 249 miles as compared to 258 EPA miles of range. So according to this estimate, the Kona EV gets around 97% of its actual EPA rated range in standard real-world conditions. So if the IONIQ 5 is actually able to achieve a similar real-world range percentage, that would give it a real-world range of somewhere around 291 miles, which could potentially be more real-world miles than the Tesla Model Y. The leaked details from the German car dealer also talked about the charging rate and the charging speed. We know the Tesla Model Y can charge up to 250 kilowatts, and according to evdatabase.org, it takes about 22 minutes to go from a 10% state of charge to an 80% state of charge, meaning you add around 221 miles or 356 kilometers in that time. Charging the Kona EV is much slower because it only has a max charge rate of 77 kilowatts, and it will take somewhere around 44 minutes to add about 180 miles or 290 kilometers of range on a fast charger. The leaked details we have for the IONIQ 5, however, reveal that it should have a max charge rate of somewhere closer to 200 kilowatts, and the article said it should also be able to charge in 15 minutes. If this is true, that would mean somewhere around 210 miles of range added in this 15 minutes, or 338 kilometers. So although we have no official confirmation of the dimensions, the battery capacities, and also the charge times, they do seem very realistic, and they also fit well with a lot of other details we've heard from Hyundai and also Kia. Hyundai actually owns a portion of Kia, and because of this, they share a lot of platforms. One of the facts that backs up the actual range of this new IONIQ 5 SUV is the fact that the new Kia SUV that we'll be talking about at the end of the video is supposed to have around a 500 kilometer range or somewhere around 310 miles. This new Kia EV will be built on the same platform as the IONIQ 5, and it will have very similar technology built in. So if Kia is able to achieve somewhere north of 300 miles of range or 500 kilometers, it makes sense that Hyundai would be able to as well. Another piece of data that helps back up the charging rate that we've mentioned, somewhere around 200 kilowatts, is the fact that Hyundai recently invested in the IONIQ fast charging network, the network that is available in Europe, and the IONIQ network can charge up to 350 kilowatts. So I know what you might be saying, okay, this is just vaporware, this is just another prototype, this is just another press release, this is just another company making a bunch of promises that they can't deliver on. However, I do believe in this case this is not vaporware, and these vehicles are actually going to be very impressive vehicles that we'll see in the next couple of years. One of the big reasons that I believe that Hyundai will actually be able to manufacture a decent amount of these vehicles is that they apparently have a pretty good battery contract with SK Innovation. According to this Electrive article, SK Innovation will provide the batteries for their new eGMP platform. This article also points out that they have enough contracts for around 500,000 vehicles in this platform, and they are going to produce the first vehicles sometime in early 2021. This article also points out that they plan to produce around 70,000 units per year. Most likely this SUV will be available in Europe first, and then it will come to the USA and other countries the next year or so after that. So why am I excited about the new IONIQ sub-brand from Hyundai? Do I expect Hyundai to deliver on each one of these metrics and to deliver a vehicle that looks anything like the concept vehicle? Not necessarily, but I do have faith in Hyundai that they will create a very compelling and very efficient EV. I do believe the range of the new IONIQ 5 SUV will be somewhere close to 300 miles, and I believe the vehicle will realistically be able to charge somewhere about as fast as the Tesla Model Y. One of the big reasons that I believe that Hyundai can actually achieve this is because they have a really good track record with the Kona EV, creating a very efficient EV, and that one is not even on a dedicated platform. That same Kona vehicle can be purchased as a hybrid or also an internal combustion engine vehicle. If Hyundai can create one of the most efficient EVs with a shared platform, just think what they can do with an exclusive dedicated EV platform. As far as future plans go for Hyundai, they plan to, by 2025, have delivered somewhere around 1 million battery electric vehicles, and they also hope in 2025 to sell somewhere around 560,000 battery electric vehicles per year. Thanks for sticking around now to the end of the video. I'd like to dive into some of the details that I promised about the new Kia SUV coming sometime in 2021 as well. The new Kia SUV that will be revealed in 2021 should be capable of 200 plus kilowatt hour charging. It's supposed to have around a 500 kilometer range or 310 miles of range, and it should have a charge time of around 20 minutes. I assume that means to 80%. Kia has said that their new SUV will be based on the Imagine concept vehicle, which will be built on that same modular platform that we talked about that the Hyundai IONIQ 5 will be built on. And there have been several sightings of this SUV on the road being tested, so I believe that we'll actually see a version of this happen next year. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it and that you learned something as well. If you're not already subscribed to this channel, please consider subscribing. And if you do subscribe, if you click the bell icon, you'll be notified when new videos are published. Also, if you did like the video, please consider clicking that like button so other people can find the video. And I wanted to take a moment here at the end of the video to thank the Patreon supporters, which support me every month and help me bring this content to you. If you'd like to find out more about the Patreon community that I've set up, you can find a link in the description below. Thank you so much.